Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for attending the VA Northeast Ohio Healthcare System Vietnam War 50th Anniversary Commemoration. I am Samuel Innocent, and I will serve as your Master of Ceremonies. This National Day of Commemoration was authorized by Congress, established under the Secretary of Defense, and launched by the President in 2012. And by that presidential proclamation, the United States American Vietnam War Commemoration will continue through Veterans Day, November 11th, 2025, making this the last year officially commemorating the war's end. In 2017, the proclamation was issued, and the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act was signed into law, designating March 29th of each year as National Vietnam War Veterans Day. Therein, National Vietnam War Veterans Day joined the 6 other annual military-centric national holidays codified in law, among them Memorial Day, Independence Day, and Veterans Day. The significance of March 29th is multifaceted. First, March 29th, 1973 was the day the U.S. Military Assistance Command, Vietnam, was disestablished. In addition, March 29, 1973, was the day the last U.S. combat troops departed Vietnam. Finally, March 29, 1973, was the day Hanoi released the last of its acknowledged prisoners of war. Ultimately, we gather here today to humbly thank and honor the Vietnam veterans living in our community. Accordingly, I ask that everyone who served on active duty at any time from November 1st, 1955 to May 15th, 1975, regardless of location, to please stand if you are able. We can never say this enough, but thank you for your service. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise or remain standing for the presentation of colors, the singing of the national anthem, and the retirement of colors. Singing the national anthem is our Department of Civic and Engagement Officer, Miss June Knowlton.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight on the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Then the rocket's red glare and the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Chaplain George Hankin will now deliver the invocation.
Why remember it all? Memories that hold on to you, that you can't let go of. Why remember it all? Ugly stuff happens in deployment. But why we remember is because there is things that won't die. Memories can fade, some are emblazoned on our psyches. But dignity and honor and love and sacrifice, those are forever. Had the privilege of meeting Medal of Honor winner this morning. One of the things that I will always be thankful for the Vietnam veterans is their desire to make sure that from now on, from moving forward, veterans returning home would be acknowledged and celebrated. And so in the wee hours of the night of my redeployment from Desert Shield Storm, most all of those people lined up along the airport hallway were Vietnam veterans. So in this ceremony right here, right now, maybe not a whole lot of folks paying attention and remembering. But we're about to speak to the one who gives us hope, because there's coming a day where we're going to beat the swords into plowshares. There's going to be peace, which is what every one of us veterans long for when we've been deployed. So why remember? Because love and sacrifice is still present. And no matter what all is in the fray of our daily lives, love and sacrifice and dignity, and that's what we're about here in the VA. That's why I love the VA. That's why I love being a chaplain here in the VA. Because the VA embraces all of us as veterans, with all of our baggage, with all of our craziness. We're embraced here. And so thank you, loved ones of veterans, for putting up with us and reminding us of why we deploy. So that in mind, let's go to the one who made us. Father in heaven, thank you that you did in fact make us in such a way that love is imprinted into our very DNA. We know love from the time we draw our first breath, and in fact, when we're still in the womb, we know love. And whatever it is about being made in your image, it has to do with love. And we see that carried out in sacrificial giving of effort, energy, life. So thank you that no matter how small the setting, no matter how remote, no matter how horrible the circumstance, you are present with us. And we thank you for that. And so thank you for dignity and honor and sacrifice and love. And may we choose to continue to show that, and especially in the face of hate being spewed, and conflicts waging on. Thank you that you do not give up on us. We have that spirit inside of us. We give you the praise and the honor. In your mighty name, amen.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. At this time, I would like to introduce our Associate Director of Patient Care Services, Mr. Garrett Schreier, for brief remarks on behalf of the Medical Center.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning, everyone. What an honor it is for us to come together today to recognize and commemorate our Vietnam-era veterans. Distinguished veterans, family, friends, and staff, it is an honor to stand before you today as we come together to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. This is a moment of reflection, a time to remember, and a time to express our deepest gratitude to all those who served. Whether you were on the front lines, in support roles, or stationed far from the battlefield, your contributions were immeasurable, and today we gather to say thank you. 50 years ago, the war in Vietnam came to a close, but for many of you here today, the impact of that war has never truly ended. It lives in your memories, in the stories you carry, in the scars, both visible and invisible, that you continue to bear. This day is not just about remembering the past. It's about recognizing the ongoing sacrifices, the resilience, and the courage of those that served. We remember the friends and comrades lost, whose names we carry in our hearts and in our minds. Their courage and their legacy live on in each of us. We also remember the families who stood by your side, who felt the pain of separation, the worry of not knowing, and the hope that one day their loved one would return home safe. Over the years, the Vietnam War and its veterans have been subject of much discussion, much anguish, and much reflection. But today we honor you, each of you, for your unwavering service and dedication. You were called to duty during a difficult time, a time of uncertainty, a time when the world was watching. You served not for fame or fortune, but because you answered a call to protect and defend freedom to serve your country. Our military served in Vietnam under 6 different presidents. President Truman authorized the first advisor to serve with the French, and President Ford was in office at the conclusion. 58,307 names appear on the wall in Washington, D.C. Their average age, 23. Tens of thousands were disabled. Approximately 7,500 women, the majority of whom were nurses, served in Vietnam. 8 were killed in theater, all of whom were nurses. 1,627 service members are still considered missing in action, and their families await word of their fate. These facts provide us some context and understanding of the true cost of war. It's not measured in dollars and cents, but in lives. For too long, our Vietnam veterans did not receive the recognition that they deserved. Too many returned home to faces turned away, to a nation not fully understanding the toll of war. But today, we stand united to say, we see you, we honor you, and we are proud of you. To the families of veterans, thank you for your strength, your sacrifices, and your steadfast support. You too are part of this legacy. The role of family and community is often overlooked, but today we recognize how deeply you shared in the journey of service and the burden of this war. As we commemorate this milestone, let us not forget that the Vietnam War was not just a conflict fought abroad. It was a war that changed lives, communities, and our nation. It changed the way we understand sacrifice, heroism, and what it means to serve. So today, as we reflect on the past, let us also look to the future. Let us recommit to supporting veterans, both these who served in Vietnam and those who served in every conflict since. Our responsibility does not end with this commemoration. It must continue every day through healthcare, through support, through this simple but powerful act of gratitude. To all of you, thank you. Thank you for your service, your bravery, and your sacrifice. As we mark this important anniversary, we celebrate you. Not only as soldiers, but as individuals who have shaped the course of history in this country. May we continue to honor your service, your stories, and your legacy for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schreier. I'd like to now introduce Mr. Kenneth David, Medal of Honor recipient.
Now I can see. Good morning, everybody. What I'm about to talk about is the speech I gave. It was supposed to have been at the Pentagon, but they moved us over to Fort Myers to the big indoor arena because there was too many people to fit inside the Pentagon. Good morning, I'm Kenneth J. David, and I am grateful to be here to talk about my service for God and country. I serve with the values of my family in the Army, and I am so thankful. First, I thank my parents, Emil and Virginia, who are both deceased now, but raised me the proper way. It was through a nurturing home life and hard work that I proved myself in training and combat. Within days of joining the Army in August of 1969, I saw a connection between values at home and at the unit. These values carried me through the toughest battles of my life. On May 7th, 1970, in Vietnam. I thank my veteran service officer, Herm Brewer, who devoted 17 years of his life for a comprehensive Medal of Honor recommendation packet on my behalf that had to go through the Pentagon. He never accepted defeat, and it is because of him and his effort that I am here today, and I thank him for that. And I want to thank my grandson and his wife, who are both American soldiers. One of the great gifts of all is that my grandson, Army Sergeant Caleb Schoaf of the Indiana National Guard, wears my blue infantry cord on his shoulder. He is strong and fit, and so is his wife, Kaylee. We share in the Army values, and I can think of no better place for them to be. When Caleb graduated from Fort Benning 7 years ago, I was able to attach my blue infantry cord on his shoulder. And when his wife Kaylee graduated from college and received her commission as a lieutenant, I was there also. We share in the Army values, and after my time in service, Caleb, Kaylee, and others know and live the values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. I am so proud of our soldiers all around the world. And night before I received my Medal of Honor, my grandson came down and says, "Grandpa, will you wear your original cord?" I said, "Sure, go change it on the uniform." So he took the new one, gave me the old frayed one. And he looked at me in the eye and says, "But Grandpa, I want it back before I leave." And I too want to thank my friend, Bob Marino. He's a crusty old retired Air Force loadmaster of 38 years of service who worked with me and others to dedicate over 20 bridges in Trumbull County, Ohio, in honor of war veterans. Today and every day for the rest of my life, I want to be known for honoring and helping veterans. But most of all, I give thanks to my foxhole buddies and honor the memory of the 7 buddies that gave their all on May 7th, 1970 with Delta Company, 1st to the 506 Infantry. And I have a challenge for you. Please go and film the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. to find the names of the 7 on panel 11 West, line 121 to 128. They are Corporal Robert Berger, age 22. Private First Class Peter Cook, age 20. My lieutenant, First Lieutenant Lawrence Fletcher, age 21. Corporal Jose Gonzalez, age 20. Sergeant Lord Jackson, 22. Corporal Robert Lohenry, 21. Staff Sergeant Joseph Redwin, 25. There was 18 of us. We knew how we walked, talked, the way we breathed, our heartbeat, and any one of 18 of us would do anything to protect his fellow soldier. My dedication to God, country, and my family, and veterans is unwavering. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. David, and thank you again for your service and sacrifice. Now, Chaplain Hankins will deliver our benediction.
And so, memories. 7 or 8 year old boy crying out song prayers to God for my dad to come home again. 3 tours to Vietnam. On one of those times back, he introduced me to General Omar Bradley, who was hanging around Fort Bragg because he was a soldier's soldier. And if you don't know who General Omar Bradley is, he kick-started the VA into the modern era of medical care. The dots connect all over, folks. We're connected. That's why we remember. And that's why we continue to serve. Amen? Amen. Father, again, thank you for putting that in us, that we will serve even when we know the cost, and even when we don't know the cost. So give us that energy and health and tenacity to serve. To look our fellow human beings in the eye and show that love that you put into us. And thank you that we don't have to agree with each other to love each other. Help us to put up with each other. Help us to honor how you made us. And thank you that these type of memories of service and sacrifice still gets lifted up. And thank you for your grace and your forgiveness for when we fail. And may we do that for one another. Thank you for the blessing of getting together and what that does for our very spirit. We give you the honor and the praise for that in your mighty name. We all said together, amen. Go loving, people. Go loving.
Thank you, Chaplain Hankins. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite you to join us at the end of the main hall for the unveiling of Mr. David's name on a Medal of Honor wall. This concludes today, apologies. After that unveiling, there'll be light refreshments served here in this very room. This concludes today's ceremony. The Color Guard will now escort Mr. David, his personal guest, to our Military Wall of Honor, where the veil will be lifted, revealing Mr. David's name. Now proudly etched among his fellow Medal of Honor recipients from the great state of Ohio. Upon conclusion of the unveiling, all attendees are invited to join us for a photo booth opportunity with Mr. David in the VCS lobby and an accompanying reception with refreshments, again, right here in this very place. Thank you for your time. Thank you all to our distinguished guest, Mr. David. That concludes today's ceremony.